All right, when you think of asteroids, you probably think about some end of the world sci-fi movie you've seen, right? But the threat of huge space rocks crashing into planet Earth is very real.
In this month's Big Idea, Robert Moses shows us the steps NASA's taking to try to keep us safe.
It came without warning. A house-sized asteroid hit the Russian city of Chelyabinsk more than a year ago. It was traveling at nearly 40,000 miles an hour and with more explosive energy than the nuclear bomb that exploded over Hiroshima. Those on the ground suffered injuries, mostly cuts, but no one died. Why? In a word, luck.
Had it hit much lower, no one who observed the event would have been alive to talk about it.
World-renowned astrophysicist Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, who hosts Cosmos, a space-time odyssey on Fox, calls that a fortunate experiment, a wake-up call with minimal consequences.
One of my favorite posters on the internet, it says asteroids are nature's way of asking you, how's that space program coming along?
Before we go on, a word about terminology. Asteroids are rocks, sometimes containing metal, that orbit the sun. When they hit the ground, as the one in Russia did, they're called meteorites. This is a meteorite that hit Greenland thousands of years ago. It weighs about 34 tons. By comparison, the meteorite that hit Russia last year weighed nearly 10,000 tons. But hold on. What if there was a way to alter the tracks of asteroids and therefore eliminate the threat they pose to us here on Earth? NASA says there is. The agency calls it the Asteroid Redirect Mission. The Obama administration asked Congress for $133 million in the 2015 fiscal year to fund it. The goal is to find an asteroid near Earth, lasso it, and eventually send humans to land on it and study it. NASA also wants to prove that it can move an asteroid in case one is on a collision course with us.
We deal with near misses somewhat frequently. I would say half a dozen times a year. It is something that is becoming more important within the international community.
Rather than just run from it and scream and say, buy water and toilet paper, you can say, let's deflect this.
We asked Dr. Denton Abel at the Museum of Natural History how that might be done.
The gravity of our spacecraft would pull the object off its course to a different course. In the long run, there's an asteroid with our name on it.
Those are ominous words that evoke thrillers like Armageddon. But scientists say this isn't the stuff of science fiction, it's science fact.
For the future of our wealth, our health, our security, our energy needs, our needs for resources, if we ignore what space has to offer, we will doom ourselves to extinction here on Earth.
While Tyson says he wants NASA to pursue its asteroid ambitions, he acknowledges that technology may still be years away. It was a cosmic event that doomed the dinosaurs. It could take some big ideas like those NASA is studying for us to avoid the same fate. Robert Moses, Fox 5 News.
And you may be wondering how long it would take for an astronaut to travel to an asteroid. NASA tells us such a trip, which is planned for the mid-2020s, would take about a month.
Get on there and help out.
Awesome. So, yeah, you've got a great Facebook page. You're also on YouTube, correct?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Okay. And so you basically are out there in Mesa, Arizona.
Yes, that's correct.
And you...
Location is the key.
Uh-huh. Right.
I mean, that's something that people need to understand, Rex, because there's something called the Coriolis effect, which is the line of sight. I mean, to think about it, if people are saying they can't see this, well, they're not in the right location. It's coming up from the southern hemisphere. So if you're standing on the North Pole, you're not going to see what's underneath the belly of the Earth.
Right.
Think about it. I mean, there's a lot of people that are still in denial and can't believe that it's there. But it's there. I just happen to be in an outstanding location. Just like Flagstaff, Arizona has the Lola Observatory. That's a sweet spot. So that's why I get such fantastic shots.
Mm-hmm. Now, how long have you been actually looking for Planet X?
Well, June last year, I heard about it on Facebook, and I started looking at the NIBIRU groups, and I discovered Samuel Hoffman's page, Montana Skywatchers. And I learned from him. I've been following him for a year. I just took my own pictures, and people were telling me what I was getting. Sometimes I don't always know what I get in my pictures, but I know there's things there. I can tell when I look at the sky, the colors look different to me here. The colors are changing. I see hues of indigos. I see hues of green around the sun. I see blues. I sometimes see stripes in the sky, like dark rays of light. You might say like dark rays. And it's weird. But
now,
I think
what's the elevation out there, Teresa?
I'm not quite sure, but we can find out right now. I think it's in the 30.
Around 3,000 feet, somewhere around there.
I would imagine.
Okay.
Do you know where Southwest Arizona is, near Phoenix?
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with the area.
Okay, that's the area I'm near. I'm in the Phoenix metropolitan area. I'm near Tempe, Glendale, Chandler region.
You know, one thing I noticed is it looks like the elevation out there in Mesa is about 1,243 feet approximately, at least in some areas. I just pulled it up right now. When I went out to, just yesterday, I had a chance to go out to the McDonald Observatory, which is close to Big Bend, Texas. It's a very secluded area. And they have certain flight paths that have to go around that location because of the amount of telescopes and stuff that they have out there. So I was getting some footage of the sun, and it looks completely different in that area versus someplace like Mesa. The night before, they do a whole bunch of chemtrail spraying. I've noticed a lot of your pictures. They just blast the skies with these...
Chem bomb the heck out of it.
Literally, yeah. And it's, you know, obviously causing certain things to go on with the sun and reflections and refractions and light sources, and you're going to see these incredible sunsets and stuff in the sky that you wouldn't on other places that aren't chemtrailed as bad. But I've also noticed that it's a lot more extreme in places where they chemtrail the sun, the way that it looks. And some of these images that you've got are just the sunsets and the sun coming up is just so extreme. It's just absolutely
It's a double
incredible.
sunrise, and it's a double, and sometimes it looks like a triple sunset in the evening. I mean, I kid you not, if you go out here, if you come out here and you look out here in the east, when the sun comes up, an hour before the sun comes up, and I take a picture, you get this huge, massive light source. And if you look behind you in the west where the sun sets, there's a huge light source across right behind me as well. I mean, the light, it's all lit up all around, and it's a red, and there's a red, pink look along the horizon. It's from the red oxide of the system. It's that red oxide gas. It's all around our atmosphere.
Now, do you notice on days that they spray a lot out there, do you feel different? Do people around you notice they feel different?
It affects my breathing. It affects my husband's breathing. I mean, I feel fatigued more. The days when they spray, sometimes I feel like there's something sitting on my chest. That's part of Agenda 21, for them to spray us to death with chemtrails and kill us off.
Well, and the thing about the chemtrails, there's probably multiple reasons for them.
And they're trying to hide the truth from what's up there. They're trying to hide what's in the sky. And see, and that's when I pay attention the most, was when they're spraying, because I know it's obvious. It's just so obvious. And sometimes they fail when they spray. They don't even hide it. Sometimes it's just, hello, it's right there in your face. How can you not see this?
Well, now, how much time a day do you typically spend out there getting footage? Do you do more photos than video, or is it kind of 50-50?
It's a 50-50. I mean, I do it. I'm at it daily. I do this daily. Here, I haven't been doing it as much, only a few times a day because it's been so hot. But when I'm like out there multiple times a day before sunrise, after sunrise, during sunset, after sunset. I try to get out there at different times of the day, multiple times a day. As long as I'm able, I'm out there.
Now, do you have a lot of other people that you work with as well in Mesa, or are you kind of a solo?
I'm by myself, but I have a friend of mine. Her name is Catherine Rizal, a.k.a. Rusalka Woodvine. She's a dear, great friend of mine. She helps me with the scientific understanding. She's the one that explained to me about the Coriolis effect and how your location is the key. So she helps. She's on Facebook too. She's had a lot of. She's been who's who, and she's been in medicine, and she's done a lot in her career, and she's a very big researcher. So she helps me with a lot of the technical understanding. She sent me a bunch of notes to look back on so I don't stumble on myself, but I feel like I just did anyway.
Is it more intense out there now as far as the light on your skin versus 10 years ago, 20 years ago? Are you from Mesa?
I grew up in California.
Okay.
But I've lived here for a long time. The heat is a prickly, hot, burning heat.
Now, tell our audience a little bit about yourself, Teresa. For those that might want to check out your videos on YouTube, I'd recommend just going to YouTube, typing in Teresa Caldwell, and then your channel comes up, correct?
Yes, sir.
So,
what do you want to know?
Well, I mean, what's your story? You're from California, and then you.
I grew up in Southern California, and then I moved to Arizona as an adult. I've been living here in Mesa now since 2009. So far to now. I mean,
time flies, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I discovered the NIBIRU system on Facebook, like I said, and at first I was a naysayer too. I was like everybody, well, I can't see this, I don't know. So I started doing my own research and my own homework, and I started looking at Carlos Ferrata's work. I follow his research. He's the one that said that NIBIRU is like a comet/planet because it has a tail. You know, and I listen. Bob Evans has helped me with his photos, and just learning and reading and taking my own pictures. I'm also an artist. I do a lot of drawing.
Okay, and you draw stuff on NIBIRU and Planet X now?
Sometimes I get the winged disc in there.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Well, let me ask you this as far as the way that once you've realized in your mind that this Planet X does exist.
Oh, I know it's real.
Okay. And a lot of these images that are out there, sometimes the pictures, you'll see these anomalies that look bigger in the skies versus other times. Sometimes they're more transparent. Sometimes they're different colors. And if you can't describe them off as lens flares, and if they are the same planet, why do you think they change so much as far as in the images go?
Because of the orbit. There's 7 huge titans. There's 10 moons and 3 suns, to my knowledge, to this system. I can't tell you all the names because I don't remember them all. But there's Saru, Statum, Matum, Uri, Napacidi, and I think Matum. I think I got them. But you know what? I'm noticing they rotate. These huge orbitals are rotating around our planet like every couple of hours, and they're massive. And with these massive orbitals, we get volcanic activity, we get massive earthquakes, we have this is what's causing the pole shift. This is the same thing that caused the great flood back in the days of Noah. This is the same thing. And the government knows about this. Why do you think they built those bunkers with our tax dollars? They don't want to reveal the truth to us.
Now, another thing, too, that I've wondered is if we've gone through this before just based on the way that the Earth moves in the solar system and other planets, moons, suns, etc., and you talk about these possible 3 different suns and such, could you tell our listeners if they wanted to get that information where your source was with that?
Carlos Ferrata and Samuel Hoffman is where I've gotten a lot of my information.
Okay.
Carlos Ferrata was a Chilean astronomer who was studying this system, and that's but he's passed away. But that's some of the best research I can go by. And from Samuel Hoffman, his Facebook page, Montana Skywatcher, those are my best reliable sources. Those, and Gil Broussard, I would trust his work, I would have to say.
I've had Gil on the show a couple of times.
And then there's Marshall Masters, of course.
Uh-huh.
I would have to say his work because I researched what he's done a little bit. And then, of course, the petroglyphs in Egypt show the winged disc in there, and it's all come together. It's all coming together. This is like a biblical thing that's taking place. This is the end of days coming. This is going to cause mass destruction, and the only way to even think about saving yourself is to accept the Creator and get right with the Father, and that's all we can do, and prepare and warn. You know, when I found out about this, I was a heathen and I didn't believe in the Creator. I repented August last year, just before the blood moon, and I realized this is true. This is really taking place. I asked the Father for a purpose. He made me a watchman, sir. And I have done it diligently, daily, on a basis for the last year. It has been exactly 1 year almost to the day that I started this. And it has given me such great joy to be part of something so huge. And I ask for nothing, just for a job well